Hi guys, my name is Wren, and today my team and I are going to talk about the importance of nonverbal communication and how nonverbal communication can contribute to highly successful people. Ralph Waldo Emerson, who's a literary scholar and a literary genius, wrote this: "What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you say." I think that is a great way to introduce the importance of nonverbal communication because it speaks to the fact that sometimes nonverbal communication can be so over the top and it can be so under par sometimes, and it can speak louder than the actual words that you're saying. So in thinking of ways to introduce this speech and ways that I can introduce the topic, I was thinking I could come in and I could say, guys, today we're going to talk about nonverbal communication, and it's going to be so exciting. I'm so excited to talk to you guys about it. It's going to be awesome. Or I could kind of take a step back and look away and say, hey guys, today we're going to talk about nonverbal communication, and it could be fun, I guess, so we'll talk about that. So obviously in the first one, I'm throwing my hands up and I'm so excited and it's cheesy and I'm this close to the camera. And then the second one, I'm taking a step back and I don't really want to be that close. I'm looking down, I'm not making eye contact, I'm kind of shrugging my shoulders. And so you can tell that it's essentially the same thing that I'm saying, obviously in different tones, but nonverbal communication affects that, and it can affect the message that you're saying. So today we're going to talk about some different aspects of nonverbal communication. The first one is eye contact and eye avoidance. We're going to talk about personal space. We're going to talk about facial expressions and how that can affect how you communicate. And we're going to talk about clothing and what kind of message that sends. We're also going to talk about how important nonverbal communication is with interpersonal communication, and also how nonverbal communication and interpersonal communication work together to make a better communication and send a better message to the person that's receiving that message. So starting off, we're going to talk about eye contact and eye avoidance. So eye avoidance is very bad, it's very distracting, and it's very disturbing sometimes whenever you're talking to someone. So say I'm talking to you and I'm just looking down and I'm not even looking up. Maybe I'll look up once real quick and I'll glance back down. And it's awkward and it's distracting. And so that's all that you're focusing on is, man, this person's not looking at me, or they're not looking at the camera. There can be numerous reasons why people don't make eye contact with you. It can be self-esteem, it can be that they've never been taught to make eye contact, or it can also mean that they're lying. So whenever you see someone just looking down and not making eye contact, it affects how they speak, and it can affect the way that you're receiving the message, and you can think, wow, this person doesn't know what they're talking about, or this person might be lying. And so it really can deeply affect the message that you're sending. So eye contact is so important because it establishes this relationship. So if I'm talking to an actual person, then it establishes this relationship with them, that I care about them. If I'm talking to my audience, you can see that I care about this message that I'm sending. There can be an extreme of eye contact where you literally just stare at the camera and it's awkward. And it makes everyone want to look away, and it kind of gives you chills and like the Mr. Creeper stare, and you don't look away. It's awkward when I do that. I felt awkward doing that. So there's a good medium between it. You don't want to stare and you don't want to look away. You just want to make comfortable eye contact, and that can communicate so much with the words that you're actually saying. Another part of nonverbal communication is facial expressions. So facial expressions can communicate these things: surprise, fear, anger, sadness, disgust, contempt, interest, and happiness. And so we can communicate so many different things in so many different situations. So what I like to think of as an example is if I walked into my house and my burglar alarm went off, and all of a sudden my face, I just as a natural reaction, I look terrified, I'm fearful, I'm surprised, I don't know what to do. Also, another thing you can do is if you can manipulate these facial expressions. So if you hear something you don't like, your first reaction might not be this, crossing your arms in with your face, looking angry and looking upset. But you can manipulate it so that you can make that facial expression send that message to the person you want to know that you're upset. So facial expressions speak loudly, and oftentimes more loudly than words. A third aspect of nonverbal communication is space. I like to think of this as 3 concentric circles. So one big circle, one medium circle, and one little circle. This first big circle is the social circle. So it's if I was talking to someone, just meeting them, we'd be about this far away, just a comfortable space. The second circle, the medium one, is kind of the personal circle. So it's if I'm talking to a friend, I know I'm comfortable with them, I'm talking about something that's interesting to both of us, and we're comfortable around each other. And the third little circle is what we call the intimate circle, and that's if I'm talking to someone that's like a spouse or a girlfriend, boyfriend, or someone in my family. You're intimate and you're close. You can have this close space. Although sometimes the intimate can be awkward if it's someone that you have just met and they're getting up really close to you. Like you can think about going to the grocery store and kind of feeling someone behind you in line, and it's awkward. And it depends on different cultures how close people are with space. You know, everyone I think has had an experience where they meet someone new and they keep them in that social circle, that outer circle, whenever they're meeting them, and the person, you know, is a close talker. And they take a step close and they're talking so close to you, it's awkward, so you take a step back. And the spacing thing just speaks so loudly, the message that you're sending. It can be such a distraction, or it can be such an effective way to communicate. Another aspect of nonverbal communication is clothing. So since this is a training video and it's a professional video, I'm wearing a jacket, I'm wearing a collared shirt, and I convey the message to you that this is professional. Now, I do believe that everyone needs a good Hawaiian shirt, so I've got my Hawaiian shirt right here. It's got some pineapples on it. And I also have a Yankees, I don't like the Yankees, but I have a Yankees visor. So imagine that I came in wearing a Yankees visor sideways, and I'm wearing this pineapple Hawaiian shirt, and I'm saying the same thing that I am right now with my jacket and my collared shirt on, but it just sends a different message. And so even though everyone needs a good Hawaiian shirt, I believe, it does send such a different message to people, and it can communicate so differently by what you wear. And that's a really important aspect of nonverbal communication. So I'm going to pass it on to my teammates, and they're going to talk about how interpersonal communication and nonverbal communication work together and how they're related.
Hello. Thank you, Jackson. Hello, class. This is Emilia, and I am here to talk about nonverbal communication and the importance of it with interpersonal communication and the importance of nonverbal communication working together with verbal communication. Interpersonal communication, as we learned last time, is the communication of two or few people. So says Joseph D. DeVito in our class book. We see nonverbal communication working together all the time with interpersonal communication. For example, in this picture, we see two people with their backs turned towards each other, turned the opposite ways from each other. His head is in his hand. Her head is, they're completely turned away from each other. She's got her arms crossed. He's got his head on his head, and you can tell that they're mad at each other. They're non-verbally communicating. This picture is a perfect example of what Jackson just described. Non-verbal communication can also play the part alone, but sometimes it needs the help of verbal communication. For example, Mary R. Powers from Bond University talks about the phrase, "I'm glad you came." If I say, "I'm glad you came," and I've got a smile on my face, you can tell that I mean it. I'm really glad that you did come. Whereas if I say, "I'm glad you came," but I show this facial expression that I don't really care, I'm not really glad that you came, then I probably don't mean it. It was stated from Norton Media that the belief in the importance of nonverbal communication is nothing new. You've been verbally communicating since you were born, since you were a baby. You probably didn't realize it, but you were communicating since the day you were born. In this picture, the guy is standing up presenting information in front of a group of people. Verbally, he is talking. Non-verbally, the chart he shows is non-verbally communicating at the same time, the exact same he's talking about verbally. An example of non-verbal communication not needing verbal communication is backed up in the demonstration here. Talk to the hand. We've all heard of it. When this girl is obviously mad. How do I know? I know because she's non-verbally telling me that she's not listening. Talk to my hand. Nonverbal communication uses verbal communication, but can also doesn't always need verbal communication. But an individual in life, we need to learn how to nonverbally communicate in a nice but effective way. As a social work major, I can't roll my eyes or tell my clients to talk to the hand and not to talk to me. I need to be nice, friendly, and get the point across effectively where everyone understands. This is where nonverbal and verbal communication make a difference. Thank you.